Coming up tonight, a tragedy at sea leaving 17 people dead. Officials suspect human smuggling. Several communities paying tribute to souls lost in the tragedy and pledging support to those who survived. And tough times at the Humane Society. See how you can help. This is our News Weekend Edition. Good evening, all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. An early morning tragedy at sea claiming the lives of 17 suspected illegal migrants. At an emergency press briefing this afternoon, Prime Minister Philip Davis telling media that a multi-agency investigation is ongoing as officials seek to uncover the circumstances regarding the tragic incident. Hearses filled the Royal Bahamas Defense Force site on East Bay Street after officers pulled the 17 bodies from the sea. Police reporting the victims of an alleged failed smuggling attempt from New Providence. Prime Minister Philip Davis addressing the tragedy at sea during a joint agency press conference.
25 persons were rescued and were turned over to health officials for monitoring.
The 30-foot speedboat reportedly capsized some 7 miles off of New Providence. Prime Minister Davis noting that additional people are still missing and that search and recovery efforts continue.
Preliminary investigations suggest that a twin-engine speedboat left a docking facility off West Bay Street around 1 a.m. with approximately 60 persons on board. It is believed that their final destination was Miami, Florida. It is believed that the vessel capsized in rough seas.
Minister of Immigration Keith Bell revealing 20 of the survivors were taken to the detention center for questioning.
Those persons have indicated that they would have paid somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000 for this fateful voyage thus far.
Attorney General and Acting Health Minister Ryan Pinder says they are waiting for the final reports from law enforcement. He adds that when it comes to the 2 Bahamian nationals rescued at sea, they are in police custody.
To the extent that those investigations reveal criminal culpability, there will be no resistance by the government of the Bahamas in bringing the necessary criminal action and criminal enforcement action against those who are deservingly so.
Deputy Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Captain Shondell Pinder says surveillance continues throughout the southern Bahamas and the capital.
So we continue to work with them. We continue to monitor those suspected areas, and we continue to ensure that we're also working with the Royal Bahamas Police Force to ensure that all of us are on the same page. And we've had some successes at some key locations.
Now, following that heartbreaking situation, our Berthany McDermott spoke to several community leaders who were offering their heartfelt condolences. Now, Berthany, I understand an organization says that they are on standby to assist.
That's right, Megan. The Haitian League of Pastors saying they stand ready to assist the families of the victims in whatever way they can. Today, we spoke to members from that community. They all expressing sadness over the incident. Now, again, tributes pouring in for the victims of that tragic incident, with the leader from the Haitian community and the opposition giving condolences and pledging support. Here's that story. Haitian League of Pastors President Dr. Jean-Paul Charles sending condolences to the families, calling it a sad occasion. He says the League stands ready to assist those families.
I can tell you from what have happened in the past, we always get together times like that, to assist those who may not, those who are not die, and then we will try to, put, clothing them, feed them, and together with the government, and to see how we can deal with that.
Condolences also pouring in on social media for the 17 people who lost their lives. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintott expressing condolences on behalf of the party. He added the opposition remains resolute against any form of human smuggling and is in support of swift and deliberate justice for the victim and punishment for the perpetrators. Great Commission Ministries Senior Pastor Bishop Walter Hanschel said, "This tragedy brought tears to my eyes. I'm saddened on the loss of so many lives. Have mercy." Meanwhile, this resident said condolences to the faithfully departed's family, prayers that God will strengthen you at this time. And this resident said they should charge the smugglers with their deaths, especially when they're not wearing a life vest. The incident that officials say occurred around 1 a.m. this morning, no doubt sending shockwaves throughout the Haitian community. Dr. Charles recounts where he was when he got the devastating news.
I was at the church, as you can see, I just come out of the church. You are the first one who told me that. I don't know, but first thing, my heart, goes out to those who have lost their lives and trying to get a better place to live, a better life, a better environment.
Now, while noting that this isn't the first time Haitian nationals lost their lives making that dangerous journey, Dr. Charles is warning them to do it the right way.
To lose your life, because you never know what God has for you in the near future. I would tell them just to find the right way to come to the country by requesting, a travel visa.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Thank you, Berthany, and we will continue to provide details as they become available. Meantime, more tragedy today. Police on the scene of yet another murder in the nation's capital. Our Jean Joseph reports from the brazen daylight scene.
Today's unfortunate event unfolding just after 12 p.m. at Esso on the Run at the intersection of Faith Avenue and Carmichael Road. The young man, in his early 20s, would take his last breath in his vehicle shortly after purchasing items from within that establishment. The victim's family would arrive, visibly distraught, giving no comment. Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, officer in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department, gives these details.
As he was waiting for his vehicle to get refilled with gas, a small vehicle, which we believe is a Japanese type model, pulled up. One male exited that vehicle, approached the deceased, shooting him multiple times above the body. On completion of that, he jumped back into this vehicle and proceeded west onto Carmichael Road, making good his escape.
The fact that a criminal would commit a daylight shooting in such a high-traffic area with visible surveillance cameras concerns police. Still, Johnson encourages the public to continue alerting authorities to crimes.
This is an active junction here on the corner of Faith Avenue and Carmichael Road. This service station is always populated with civilians. And so these persons are getting very brazen, and so it does concern the police, but we continue to ask members of the public if they see anything suspicious to contact 919 and be always on the alert.
Johnson says this, given the recent lull in reports of serious crimes.
We are not in the business of hiding any homicides or any serious incident. The public need to know what's going on in this country. And we are all about on the streets. As you look around, you can see police patrolling everywhere. But these crimes are crimes of opportunity.
Police continue to investigate this and other crimes. Call Crime Stoppers or the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9992. I'm Jean Joseph reporting for Our News.
Meanwhile, progress on the Nassau cruise port continues with President and CEO Matt Mara Jr. giving an update on some of the development effort to make the port environmentally friendly.
The Nassau cruise port has worked to minimize our carbon footprint by including approximately 1.4 megawatts of solar in our project.
One way Mara says the port is trying to do that is to look at how companies like Disney manage their operations.
In anticipation of the opening of our food and beverage and retail operations and the 4 million plus guests we will welcome, we have begun discussions with Disney Cruise Line regarding environmental advances in food and beverage packaging and serving items. With over 50 million visitors per year, Disney has the experience to advise Nassau Cruise Port in minimizing our waste and repurposing waste.
Still to come, the World Health Organization has declared monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern. And Disney is focused on the environment. That's coming up when Our News Weekend Edition returns. Environmental protection and preservation is high on the list of priorities for Disney Cruise Lines following the introduction of the company's 5th cruise ship and as it works on its 2nd destination in the Bahamas. Christina Dragovich tells us more.
We're very proud that the Disney Wish is the first ship that runs on the cleanest burning fuels available on LNG. And it's just one of the ways where we minimize, thank you. It's one of the ways where we minimize our impact on the environment.
Disney Signature Experiences President Thomas Maslam outlining the company's commitment to protecting the natural beauty of the Bahamas. That includes factoring in the environmental effects of expansion on Disney's island destination Castaway Cay and the future Lighthouse Point on Eleuthera.
70% of the entire island's energy come from renewable energy sources now. 70. And we're not done yet.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper recently welcomed the Disney Wish into the port of Nassau, noting the transformational or magical effect of the company.
Disney's private island allowed it to build its cruise brand upon visiting the unique destination in the Bahamas that has employed many Bahamians and generated significant activity in the economy.
Cooper also applauding DCL for its work to preserve the environment at Lighthouse Point throughout development.
Disney committed $350 million to building a destination that left 80% of the pristine land at Lighthouse Point unspoiled, and to spend whatever was necessary to mirror the Bahamas' commitment to environmental stewardship. And for that, I think they ought to be commended as well.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
The World Health Organization has activated its highest alert level for the growing monkeypox outbreak, declaring the virus a public health emergency of international concern. The move prompting local health officials to ramp up their efforts. Jasmine Brown explains in this report.
So what we're going to do on Monday is have a meeting just to make sure that our other levels of preparedness are in place, meaning that our treatment modalities, that you have enough testing supplies in the country, as well as arrangements with the border control so they understand what to look out for.
That's Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Philip Swan describing how health officials are monitoring the rapid spread of monkeypox across the globe. On Saturday, the World Health Organization declared the rapidly spreading monkeypox outbreak a global health emergency. The designation means the WHO now views the outbreak as a significant threat to the global community and are calling for a coordinated international response to prevent the virus from spreading further and potentially escalating into a pandemic. It also serves as an urgent call for action. Last month, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville confirmed that a visitor had tested positive for monkeypox. The visitor, who traveled from London on June 9th, was quarantined when he began displaying signs of monkeypox. Dr. Swan says it's vital to train people in the hospitality industry.
About 2 weeks ago, we did some training with the healthcare providers and the hospitality industry. About 200 persons, just to tell them about what monkeypox was and what to expect and how to report it to the National Surveillance Unit if there was a problem.
As for what are the clear signs of monkeypox symptoms,
a person will have a generalized rash. It usually starts at one part of the body and spreads from the trunk down to the arms and then the legs. It's a general red rage back to the back of the rash, and then it starts to turn into blisters and sores. Once you see that happen, once you see someone who has that rash, if you're able to separate yourself from them, but of course if you're unable to put on your mask, it's still spread by, to some extent, by aerosol droplets.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
When Our News comes back from the break, we are more than disabled. One government minister says equal rights for disabled workers are on the way. And the swimming pugs, one author takes on a trip around the islands. We have the details when the weekend edition returns. Our News. In an effort to ensure that disabled Bahamians are a part of a level playing field, earlier this week, State Minister for Public Service Pia Glover-Roll announced plans to establish a program that creates equal rights for disabled workers. Tonight, we feature a visually impaired woman who agrees that disabled Bahamians deserve more job opportunities. Here is Jamila Mizik.
This is the second time in my life I went blind. The first time I was 19 years old. It came back when I was 21. And then last October, it fully went, and now I'm seeing in shades of gray. So even though I know there are people around me, I couldn't tell you what any of you look like. So it's crazy, but you know, God is a good God.
That's the story of 36-year-old Prashelle Ramsey Miller, who says it's important that people realize that persons who are blind are more than their disability.
Sometimes when you talk to people about disability, they think they tend to, what's the word I'm looking for, shun you. They tend to shun you because they don't want to give you a chance. You know, they just think, oh, if I'm near her, you know, I have to take responsibility for her if something happens. But at the end of the day, I find that we tend to push more because we have something to prove more.
This week, State Minister for Public Service Pia Glover-Roll announced the Public Service Professional Engagement Program, which intends to give people with disabilities the same career opportunities as other public service workers. Ramsey Miller, a mother of two, says she wants to be able to utilize the degrees and certificates she's received in hopes of working toward her independence.
I want to be able to prove to me, because I have two young kids, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, I want them to see that despite anything that the enemy tends to throw at you, God always makes a way for you to overcome it. I want to prove it to them because they've been through too many things inside their life, and I want them to just, you know, look at their mom and say, Mom, if you do it, I can do it too. So
Starting next month, the program, also known as PS Prep, will be a step in creating a country where people who have physical disabilities have equal opportunities.
Okay, I can't see, but you know, I can sell across to an atheist, you know. I'm good with talking. That's my thing. I'm good with motivational speaking. Prior to this, I was a customer service representative. I'm really good at, you know, what I do. So I'm glad that this new Davis operation has opened up this door for us to be more than what we are.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
Well, it was a pug-tastic day yesterday at the National Arts Gallery as first-time author Gabriella Sugi hosted her official book launch for The Swimming Pugs Explore the Islands of the Bahamas. She says while locked down and quarantined, her two pups, Pugsy and Penelope, served as her inspiration.
I just started planning these itineraries, and then the idea really just birthed from there. And it was a seamless process. We did the book, and now that it's out and everywhere out and open again, I'm really, really excited to be able to share it with everyone, not only in the Bahamas, but worldwide.
The books are currently available in a number of local stores and online platforms. She says the reception has been quite well.
I didn't realize the niche, there aren't that many children's books by Bahamian authors, so I was like, this is perfect. And so the stores started buying it, people started buying it, and so even before this launch here, it's already available in several stores around the island, not only in Nassau, but also in Eleuthera as well.
The book is a collection of short stories and features fun facts about the islands.
Each story takes you to a different location. Each location is a different island. You meet a new friend and you learn fun facts about the Bahamas. So just as much as it's about the pugs, it's about the islands of the Bahamas, exploring, learning things about our beautiful country that I think maybe even Bahamians don't even realize or know. So it's really a way to explore the country through the eyes of our little furry friends.
The first-time author says it was a pretty smooth process, and she's already planning what's next.
Once I started writing it, the stories just came, and I was able to get a first draft pretty quickly. I found an amazing illustrator through my publisher, and it was bing, bam, boom. Then you have a book in your hand, and I think the response has been so great. I'm really already looking forward to doing a series, obviously with the pugs, and we covered a lot of islands, but not all the islands, so I'm thinking maybe there's a part 2 coming soon.
And if you you were curious about the stars.
Pugsley, I've had him for 7 years, and Penelope is just 3, so they're best friends and they do everything together, and they love it. They come with me everywhere. They swim. That's why they're called the swimming pugs, and yeah, we just have a good time, just loving it up in the Bahamas, really.
Still to come, lots of rain in the weather forecast ahead and dark times at the Humane Society. That's coming up when our news weekend edition returns. Welcome back to our news. We had some showers today. Let's take a look at our weather forecast to see if more showers are to come. And earlier this month, reports of an increase in the rate of euthanasia at the Humane Society of Grand Bahama circulated on social media, drawing many eyes to the dire situation at the shelter. Our Marlena Leonard caught up with the executive director to find out more about the horrible situation.
Executive Director Tip Burrows of the Humane Society of Grand Bahama wants the public to know that the importance of animal matters in the Bahamas is not an issue exclusive to animal lovers.
You don't have to love animals to realize that an animal overpopulation problem affects everyone. And, you know, it affects the way that people perceive the island when they come here and visit and see starving dogs and cats on the streets. It affects public health. So it's a situation that needs more attention. And, you know, we also hope that the government will start to take this seriously. Laws need to be enforced. That right now there's really no repercussions for abusing or neglecting your pets, or, you know, any incentives for spaying and neutering, or, you know, anything. And it's just, it is long overdue that we get, this situation gets more resources and attention from the government.
Burrows says there are a number of factors leading to overpopulation at the shelter.
Fewer donations, funding cuts, less support in general, and an increase in the amount of animals in need of coming into the shelter. A lot of people have left the island and weren't able to take their pets. People are still leaving. We get, you know, animals just about every day that people are leaving the island, or they've had to move and they can't find pet-friendly housing. I'd say probably close to 50% of the animals we take in right now are owner surrenders.
Burrows says the shelter is operating in the red and that the best way people can help the shelter is through adoption and donations. There's even an option to sponsor an animal at the Humane Society with a monthly subscription. Burrows says any level of donation would help.
$30 a month sponsors a dog or cat. We're happy to get $10 a month or $300 a month. Whatever people can afford can help sponsor the cost of, you know, when donations come in regularly, it's a help, you know, to know that we can count on X amount every month. And those sponsorships are an invaluable and an easy way to do that. You can set up a recurring donation through the website. You can also set up a standing order at your bank. And, you know, we would really appreciate that. Even $5 a month, you know, whatever. If, say, 100 people could do $5 or $10, that's a big help.
You can choose a pet to sponsor, the shelter can choose for you, or you can just say your donation is for any animal at the shelter, and they're happy to send photo updates of your sponsored pet. Fostering is also another option to help make room at the shelter. Burrows saying baby animals as well as older animals going through heartworm treatment are the ones most in need for fosters.
If you think you're not home enough, when an animal's in a shelter, it's not getting 24-hour attention. So if you work 8, 10, 12 hours a day, that animal would still be happy to see you come home at the end of the day, and they can be just fine without your nonstop attention. So sometimes people don't think they have time, but they do.
You can donate to the Humane Society of Grand Bahama through its website, humanesocietygb.org, where you can also find information on how to donate by check or get a U.S. tax-deductible donation receipt. Reporting for our news, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thank you, Marlena, and thank you for joining us for our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Continue to enjoy the rest of your weekend.